You're listening to a show on the Planet Film podcast feed. Hi, I am Sean Monk.
And I'm TJ Cornwell.
This is the Planet Film podcast. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Took a couple of attempts on the intro there. It's been a long day. Welcome back, everybody, to the Planet Film podcast. So we got a good show for you guys today. We have some really interesting stories to talk about in the news section here. Some streaming services making some big decisions. Making some big decisions. We're talking about a bunch of them. We got, what is that? Three by my count. 3 different streaming services we're talking about today. So it's the war of the streaming wars today. Before we get into that, how have you been? What have you been doing this week? Anything new and exciting in the world of TJ Land?
No, we haven't done anything exciting, unfortunately. I've been trying to finish. I know I talked about Last of Us probably 3-4 weeks ago. I played it I think once or twice in the past few weeks. I try to find the time. Most of the time, I just hop on PC with you and Brandon. But so I'd like to try to play Last of Us. Because I want to play Ghost of Tsushima eventually. Mm-hmm. And then I also bought God of War a little bit ago. So I want to play that too because I know that game was really good. But other than that, I've just been basically packing and trying to find stuff for the apartment. The router came in today, and my new desk came in. We're just waiting. Or no, I'm sorry, my new desk didn't come in. I apologize. The entertainment stand came in today for the TV.
Oh, okay.
And my desk comes in Thursday, I think I was told.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then I had to get new. It was so weird because I've had this TV mounted up here since I got it, so I probably had it for 2 years or so. Mm-hmm. And I never had put it on the feet that it came with. And I was like, well, I can't hang it in the apartment, nor do I really want to because it's kind of a pain. And I was looking for the feet, and I could not find them for the life of me. I looked under my bed and in my drawers, in this file cabinet we have upstairs in my house. Nothing, so I had to order new ones. And those came the other day. So basically just spending a lot of money. Yeah. That's basically been my few weeks.
Sounds about right. Now, is that TV going to be the living room TV?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's going to be a sick living room setup.
Yeah. The living room is pretty big, actually. When we looked at it, it's less wide and more long, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm.
And that's good though, because if you can set up what do I want to say? If my phone is a long living, mm-hmm. If my phone is a long living room, you can put the TV up here and then have a little wraparound couch. You know what I mean? Make a whole bunch of space.
My parents are giving me their couch. They have what do you call it? An L couch, an L-shaped couch. Yeah, sectional. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of shit from my house.
Yeah, you can make a lot of space with that, the longer living rooms as opposed to the shorter ones.
I still need to get we're probably gonna get a coffee table. I just don't know what we're gonna get yet. I might get one from I think my aunt has one from my grandfather's old house, but I'm not sure if I'm going to take that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Speaking of that, I can actually visit you at your new apartment because for me this week, finally, I got my COVID test back and it came back negative. So for those who don't know, I took 2 COVID tests. I did one walk-in at a immediate care. It's been 3 weeks since that one, and I have heard nothing back. So I highly recommend the mail-in test because I did that one a week after. Mm-hmm. And I got those results much, much quicker. So
who does the mail-in? Where do you get that from?
The ones that we got, me and my mother both did it. It's the Pixel COVID-19 test by LabCorp. It's totally free if you go through your insurance. Okay. I think because it's a private company doing it, I don't think it's just like free to anyone. I think there is like cost if you don't have insurance.
Yeah.
But if you have insurance, even if you have like Medicaid or Medicare, it's completely covered, which is super nice. But yeah, we got our test results back in, what's today's date? The 20th? Yeah.
20th.
So we did our like swabs on the 14th. So it was like a little bit less than a week. But
was this like was this a tongue, or did you have to stick up your nose?
No, you got to put it up the nose.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know, like, well, I guess you had it done before. I was like, you knew, like,
well, it's a difference. The one in immediate care was like the like super long one that like they shove up your nose.
Okay, yeah.
The at-home test isn't painful at all. It's just basically regular Q-tips that you just have to put pretty far up and like do like a circle with it, and then do it in both nostrils.
So kind of like you're doing like Ancestry. Except not.
It's almost exactly the same process, except instead of like with the like 23andMe stuff, you have to like spit into the tube. Yeah, you just have to do the nasal swab, but then it's the same process after that. You put it in the tube, then you have to like put it in this like temperature controlled like gel pouch, then put that into a biohazard bag, and then put that into a box, and then it's like a whole thing to keep it safe or whatever. But yeah, it was super simple and like super quick. So luckily, it says that I didn't have it. Honestly, by the time I took the at-home one, I wasn't feeling my symptoms anymore. So whenever immediate care calls me, they very well could say that those test results were positive because that was like a week before. So who knows what the hell, but point being, I'm feeling a lot better now. Got over what I was feeling and stuff for a few weeks there.
Mm-hmm.
But
you had that twice. You had that at the beginning when this whole thing started, like in March or whatever.
That's the one. I either way, I guarantee.
Yeah,
they're saying that it's not really that reliable anymore, the antibody tests. But either way, if it was reliable, I guarantee you, if I took it, I would have had it at some point, because either this current time or all the way at the beginning. What he's talking about is all the way at the beginning, back in March, the last week before the theater closed. I had to call off 2 shifts because I was like in bed sick, like fever, cough, cold, everything. There was this big day where everybody came to the theater to help clean after.
Yeah, I remember before you left, I was like, because the one shift, like it was our like one last closing shift before like we shut down, and I was like, "You're not gonna come in?"
Yeah, I was like, I can't. I was like, I cannot come in. Like there was no way I was making it in. But we had this big like thing where like everybody came in to like help clean. Like I could like our one manager called me, and I was like, yeah, I'll come in, but like just I'm like super sick. And she was like, nope, stay home. I was like, okay. But yeah, whether it was then or now, I at least it was like, it seemingly, well, I thought maybe this was the end of it, but it seems like this is more just the middle of quarantine, unfortunately. But yeah, at the beginning I was not doing too hot, so who knows, but I'm feeling a lot better now. Excited to see the apartment once you guys actually get in there and everything and all settled. Small groups, obviously, social distance, everybody, peace. All right, let's go ahead and get right into the show today, kicking off as always every week. Also, just a quick mention, this is our 10th episode, 10 weeks of doing this podcast.
Flew by.
10 is, you can count it on both your hands, but when you're talking about 10 weeks, it honestly, sometimes it feels like it's been long, and sometimes 10 weeks is like, how have we been doing this for 10 weeks? But yeah, so just a little props to us and props to all the listeners out there. Shout out to the one fan in Denmark. I don't know if you listened to last week's episode, but we appreciate your one viewership at least. So yeah, let's kick it off with new news like we do every single week here. First story topic here today is that the Russo brothers are set to direct a new film for, I just hesitated on saying feature film, but I guess it is still a feature film for Netflix, starring Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling, two obviously big heavy hitters, actors, both action, comedy, everything, in The Gray Man, which is, I believe it's about 2 assassins basically that are pitted against each other, trying to hunt each other down, which that's a pretty simple concept for a movie. I'm game for that. But the big story here, well, there's a lot of stuff in here that makes it a big story. Obviously, Russo brothers helming a big action movie, re-teaming up. I think Chris Evans tweeted that he said like 6th or 7th go around with the Russo brothers. Like they directed him that many times.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I don't think they've worked with Ryan Gosling before, but I mean, that seems like a natural fit with their sensibilities. Mm-hmm. I'm sure with the Russo brothers here, this is going to be more of an action comedy. But then again, they also did that Extraction movie, which seemed pretty serious.
That's pretty,
yeah. Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, I still haven't seen it. I gotta watch that.
I thought it was pretty good.
I heard good stuff about it. But the big part of this story is that Netflix, as some of you maybe know or don't know, Netflix is a company that operates in a lot of debt. They really take on a lot of debt every single year to make the content they make. Now, obviously, they're constantly paying back that debt, but their mountain of debt really has just been getting bigger and bigger these last couple of years as they've been kind of getting hungry for bigger and bigger projects.
Yeah.
And this film is going to be their biggest by far. This film is going to have a $200 million budget. Now, you might be thinking like, hey, didn't I hear that The Irishman had a $200 million budget? Irishman, on the whole, was a little bit less than $200 million. Also, not all of the financing for that film came from Netflix directly. This is going to be a Netflix original produced, completely on Netflix's back. So this is not only more than Irishman, but it's solely resting on the shoulders of Netflix's pocketbook. So I'm going to throw it over to you. What do you think first about, the actors and directors teaming up here, Russo brothers going to Netflix, and then the budget as well?
So I think I feel like every time Chris Evans links up with the Russo brothers, it's a pretty like a good movie, because they directed like they directed the Avengers, not all of them. And then they directed like all the Captain Americas, right?
They directed the last 2 of each. So Captain America 2 and 3, and then Avengers 3 and 4.
I think we could say are the best of both.
Yeah,
Winter Soldier and Civil War. Yeah. I think it would be cool to see him and Ryan Gosling like play off each other. I don't know much about. I was just reading like what the plot is a little bit. It's based off a 2009 book. It said, it says it's the film is based on the 2009 novel by Mark Greaney that centers on Court Gentry, a former CIA operative known as the Gray Man. The film adaptation follows Gentry, who is being played by Ryan Gosling, who is hunted across the globe by former CIA colleague Lloyd Hansen, played by Chris Evans. So I think that sounds like a really cool plot. As far as the budget goes, I just don't know. Like, I just don't understand how this is gonna be. And I like major in business too, so I apologize if I sound like dumb or whatever. I just don't understand sometimes how Netflix makes how they make money. Because I get like they're getting, obviously they bring in revenue from their subscriptions and everything each month, and obviously they have a lot of subscribers. I mean, how many do we know? Do they ever release that number? How many like subscribers they have currently?
Let me look it up.
But like you said, does it say specifically that they're producing the movies themselves, or are they taking out a loan?
No, like they're taking out a loan, yeah, because they don't have. I mean, they're not. It's not like they're taking out a loan specifically for this movie, but they're getting like backing basically for it.
Well, the same thing with that though is like, you better have the money to pay that back, or else you're just going to have more and more debt. And it's just like, at some point, I feel like, because I could have sworn at one point they were like, well, I think we're going to back off on the whole, like, not back off on originals, but like keep a lower tier budget. Kind of like how Blumhouse is a lower tier budget, and then they make a lot more money on the movies because they didn't spend that much on them. But this is just like the complete opposite.
Yeah. Just quickly here. So I just did a little bit of math. I just added together the $14.99, the $11.99, and the $7.99 tier. So if you divide that by 3, the average because everybody has the different tiers.
Different
and
tiers.
Stuff.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, everybody has the different tiers. So if we're just going with the average, I don't know if more people subscribe to the lower or the higher or whatever, but just the average here, $11.66 per month is on average what they're bringing in from each subscriber. And as of the last New York Times article here, it's saying that Netflix worldwide has 182.8 million accounts. So let's just do, and obviously, guys, this is rough math here.
Yeah.
We're not looking for exacts, but okay. That doesn't seem right. Yeah, that would be because I put it in as 182.8, not 182.8 million. So let me redo that again.
Okay.
I was like, Netflix definitely doesn't make $2,000 a month.
No. But it's just like the movie better be like, well, obviously better be good one. Because I feel like Netflix originals are like hit and miss sometimes.
Yeah.
And I imagine like because they bought that one theater in LA, right? Oh, what? It's a lot of money.
Yeah, just 1 second. that's killing me. You just brought up the theater, and it's Egyptian theater. That's
Egyptian theater. So I'm assuming,
it was killing me what the theater was that they.
Yeah, I'm assuming they would want to like if they were obviously able to. They would want to release it in theaters, and you could also make money that way. But I just never understood. Like, I would love to. I don't know if they don't release like their financials or anything, do they?
No, they don't release like their numbers on how things do. Actually, just recently, this past week, really the only time Netflix releases numbers is when they're kind of doing a bragging thing. Like, like if you ever noticed, everybody makes the joke like, oh, it seems that every time something comes out on Netflix, it's the biggest thing that's ever been on Netflix. And this past week, I believe they released the top 9 most streamed movies or most streamed Netflix originals in the first 72 hours or something. So like kind of their comparable opening weekend. And it was movies like Extraction, what was that? What was that one? Oh, what was it called? Triple Frontier.
Yeah. And then Six Underground, the Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, Six Underground, Spencer Confidential.
Yeah.
Some of their bigger hits, they're almost all their like action comedies. Like I was a little bit surprised to not see Always Be My Maybe on there because that was a big movie when it came out. That was like a lot of people were talking about that. So I was really surprised to not see that on there. But that's really all you get from Netflix is every once in a while they drop some tidbits here and there.
That's something I just like to look at. Like if they have multiple revenue streams and like what they are. Yeah. Like the only thing I can think of is like, you're bringing in money each month from your subscriber base. But like,
and real quick here, the official number here is 2,131,448,000 would be their per month intake. So obviously though, that's
obviously
also you see how much they are
pay.
Yeah. Obviously also you see how much they are spending on content, knowing that they make that much. And obviously, like we said, this is just rough math here, just based off what that Google result told me the subscriber count was. But they're still not a cash positive company. And they make that much every single month. Like you see how much both it takes to run the company, obviously, because that's also a factor of this. And then how much it makes to do that. Because you got to remember, on top of being a production company, they also have to run the actual service. Like that costs a lot too. You know what I mean? Like imagine if AMC also had a movie studio the size of Warner Brothers, having to manage all of that. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of cash that they have to do. And maybe that's something, maybe for like a shooting the shit topic in the coming weeks, maybe we could do like a deep dive into how streaming services in general work, or how just Netflix makes money. Maybe that'll just be what it is. Like, how does Netflix make money?
I don't know. I'm excited to see the movie.
Yeah.
Is that coming out soon? It's like in January. Oh wait, the starting. Oh wait.
Starting production, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it's going in.
I was like, oh, it's already done.
No. No, but that's interesting with Gosling's schedule. I think maybe this is coming first, then Wolfman.
Yeah.
I don't know though.
I mean, who knows if we'll even start shooting? I know people. I know like different movies are, kind of. I think Jeff Goldblum talked about it like yesterday or something about how like it's very strict on the Jurassic Park set, how they're testing every day, and everybody's social distancing. So I mean, if they do that, they can we're starting. But I guess it all just depends on where the world goes from here.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Just quickly, thinking about that, you think about cases like Fantastic Four, the 2015 one, and like Dark Phoenix, stuff like that.
Yeah.
These cases of reshoot, and even Justice League, these cases of reshoots where it seemingly when they all come back, they don't quite get the look right. You know what I mean? I really hope that doesn't happen to these movies who really it wasn't their fault. You know what I mean? Like I hope that it's not like you look at some of the scenes Chris Pratt has like his like wavy hair and then some of it is like combed over. You know what I mean? Like I hope that they can actually nail that stuff because that stuff bothers the crap out of me. But I just hope that these movies don't suffer from like normal reshoot issues. But with that, let's go ahead and move on to our second topic here, which is, like we said, another streaming service topic. And this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen a company do, which is that it's just a quick story we'll talk about, which is that Peacock, the streaming service, who already had a bit of a rocky start because along with HBO Max, Peacock as well did not launch on Roku or Amazon. Now users are saying, okay, well, just like whenever there's like tech issues or something, you think of workarounds and stuff like that. Now they're realizing that they can't even use an HDMI connection. And for those who don't know, HDMI is really the most common form of a video cable now that you use to either, hook your PC up to your monitor or like hook a laptop to your TV, like game consoles, stuff like that. Basically, HDMI is like the universal video connector at this time right now here in like 2020. And Peacock has basically banned HDMI inputs from being able to watch Peacock. And when reached out, when somebody reached out to the company stated that HDMI is not supported at this time, which, to take a line out of John Campia's book, that's a crock of shit. Because it's not that it's not supported. HDMI is the universal video cable.
Yeah, so like it works
specifically
with like
went in
Apple TV and
yeah, exactly. Like you specifically went in and disabled the feature. Like it's not something where it's just like, oh crap, we forgot to code HDMI support. No, HDMI is the native support. You went in and you banned it. Like, why do you think these people or this company or even other streaming services too, because it's not just Peacock, but why do you think there's this want to have like a limited availability of their platform? Like because when reached out, Peacock's official response was, it's not currently supported at this time, but like TJ said, they said, please go ahead and use it on our other supported devices such as Chromecast, Apple TV, and stuff like that. Yeah, like so why do you think these companies are doing this?
Like, are the other supported devices are like what? Chromecast, Apple TV, what else?
I will pull up a full list because I really don't know where it goes beyond that. I mean, mobile phones and desktop PC as well, but even your desktop PC is not going to work if you have an HDMI going to your monitor. So it's like, what are you even doing? You're literally cutting off half of your user base.
Yeah, like I don't understand. I don't understand it. Like it's already bad enough that you don't have Roku and Roku and like Amazon for your streaming service. But now just like I don't know, like I don't personally know that many people that hook up their laptop to their TV and stream stuff that way. I know I'm sure like a lot of people do. But like what's the point in getting rid of like not having that? Like it's just like deaf. Like to like I don't even know. Like it's just who sat in the room and said, we actually should disable any of your HDMI. I think it's your HDMI going to your TV. Like if you take it from your laptop to your TV. Like if you pulled it up, if you could try pull it up right now on your monitor, I think it'll work.
Well, it'll work on mine because I have DisplayPort. But the story that people were saying was
maybe I should
even on their desktop with an HDMI connection on their desktop, it was not working. Yeah. But my question then is it must be that. There must be some sort of thing that they coded in because you think Chromecast is supported and that's with an HDMI. Yeah. So it's got to be something where they took the exact signature of an HDMI cable and blocked that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that's ridiculous. Like,
I'm going to try. Oh, wait, I'm going to try it right now. Please disable your. Oh, wait, I have an ad blocker. No. Okay. Here's what it is. It's your computer. It's your PC going to your TV. I just tried it and it works on my monitor.
It works on your monitor?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but still, that's still like, it doesn't matter. I don't, even if
it
works on my monitor, I don't want to sit here and watch stuff like this.
No, exactly. And I don't know. I'm like at a loss for words. Like, because also I just, like I said, I pulled up the list of supported platforms here. Mm-hmm. I was just taking a look over it while you were talking. It's so bare bones. Like I didn't even realize PS4 is not connected.
Oh, okay. PS4.
It's not supported. Which I don't know about you, but I mean, I like sometimes, well, not so much anymore because I have it connected to my computer now, but like when I get the PS5, that's going to be hooked up to the TV. Like, and I'm going to be watching like Netflix on that because sometimes it's just easier not to switch. It's not even supported. Any PlayStation products, not. Xbox One is. Now, it just says Xbox One. There's like 3 different Xbox Ones. I don't know if that means all of them. Android TV is supported, which I don't think haven't had an update in the past 3 years.
What is that? Exactly.
And it was like Google's answer to Roku, but Roku stomped it out because it's like it's whatever. I wish Android TV caught on because I'm Android through and through. I would let Google take my kidneys and my social security card. They probably are already planning on it once I'm gone, but what's it called? Because let's face it, Chromecast is not a streaming hub. It's just a screen share tool.
Yeah. I mean, it's useful for like HBO Max, but
exactly.
It's not my preferred thing.
Yeah, and then you have Apple TV HD, which says here, I'm not familiar with Apple TV, but it says 4th gen or above, no backwards compatibility. So I would assume that means if you have an older model of Apple TV.
Yeah, there's different generations of Apple TV, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it seems like if you don't have the newest version of Apple TV, you can't even get it. And then in terms of native smart TVs, it's only supported by LG and Vizio. So like you can't even I can't even get Peacock on I have a Samsung. I can't even get it on there. And then they list like cable set-top boxes that's like what year is like that what this strikes me as, and this is directly out of John Campia's mouth, what this strikes me as is, you remember back to early 2000s and stuff, and even early 2010s. This is like cable company desperation trying to be relevant. You know what I mean? It's like, why are you even listing cable provider set-top box compatibility?
Wait, what provider is it? What providers are there?
Xfinity.
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Xfinity.
I was going to check Verizon. I have Fios for cable, but I guess.
No, yeah, I would. It's like, but it's like, what do you like? I don't know. This turned out to be a bigger.
You just like want to walk up to the top of NBC's like and be like, "What are you doing?"
Well, because also it's like the thing that pisses me off about this is that the stream. Oh, sorry, my dinner just arrived to the door. When I booted this up on my phone on launch day, I really enjoyed it. I liked the service. Do I think that there's not a lot of content on there that I would watch, like that I would dig deep into the library and
it's
stuff?
also behind some paywalls as well, which is
and it's like it's like that's like really frustrating because it's like I really like those channel features that it has. I've just had to describe it to my mother because it's like I have no way of showing her what the hell I'm talking about because it's not supported on the TVs. And it's like, what are we gonna do? Huddle around my phone? You know what I mean? And like watch, you know what I mean? And now I can't even like cast my screen to the TV because it's not supported.
Yeah.
Unless I install a Chromecast, unless I buy a Chromecast and plug it into my already smart TV, then it's supported. It's like you're just limiting your customer base, and it's so dumb. Let's move on from Peacock here because it's just like so blatantly stupid. I really don't understand it. I really just don't understand it. So let's go ahead and move on. Now, our last streaming service news of the day here is we got two stories from Disney Plus. One, not really a story, but kind of expected for months. Falcon and Winter Soldier had an August release date. Clearly, the production, unfortunately, has not been able to go back yet. So, every month Disney releases their full slate of what's coming out the following month. They released their slate for August, and to no one's surprise, really, Falcon and Winter Soldier wasn't on it. I believe Bob Iger said a new date is coming for it, but they don't have one to announce yet. Anthony Mackie said that there's like 9 filming days left. It's like this poor show. It can't come out because there's literally 9 more days that they have to film. And it's like, that sucks. But yeah, what do you think about that? When do you think it's going to eventually hit? Do you think it's going to be this year, or do you think maybe they're going to have to push it?
Probably push it till I wouldn't say they'll probably announce next year. Was this the one that's the first one that's supposed to come out, or is this
that's the thing. So WandaVision, because WandaVision is like a much more what do I want to say, special effects heavy show.
Yeah,
that one started filming first. So WandaVision is done. I don't know where they're along in the post process, but WandaVision is completely ready. Like, they're still set. There was that kind of confusion this past week. I believe Deadline reported that WandaVision was still set for its fall 2020 spot. Then I believe it was Vanity Fair said, no, it's going to come out in 2021. But then Vanity Fair corrected itself. And I hope I didn't mix those two up, but those were the two. So it is still set for fall of 2020, but it was supposed to come out after Falcon and Winter Soldier. So now it's like, how much MCU tie-in is there? Like, do you have to watch these two shows in order? Do you have to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, then watch WandaVision, or it's not going to make sense? Or can you watch WandaVision independently? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, I also thought like maybe it had something to do with if it ties in some. I mean, I don't think it would. Maybe like if they had an end credit scene at the end of Black Widow or something like that. It could tie into that. Or wasn't the Eternal supposed to come out this year, or it's still slated for this year? Do we know that?
Yeah. Well, you said to make me sad again, dude. Originally it was set for September of this year.
Oh, wow.
We would have been so close.
Or something.
Yeah, we would have been so close, dude.
But or if that's tied in some way, or what, like you said, like if you have to watch, this show to understand this show, I mean, this throws. I mean, it was already a whole mess, when they first pushed Black Widow, because
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure Kevin is in his office like, okay, well, I got to rearrange this to there and that.
Like
there.
the Charlie Day gif of the
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
Nope,
but yeah. So Falcon and Winter Soldier delayed. No one's surprised. I personally, I think they're gonna try and I don't know. Because I don't know how integral those 9 days are. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's like there's no ending. Like if it's like there's no ending, then you're screwed. But it's like if you can kind of edit around it or something, I don't know. I think for me, I think if Falcon and Winter Soldier can't get back into production soon, I think they're just gonna maybe edit out anything from WandaVision that was like required reading, you might say, from Falcon and Winter Soldier. To try and get WandaVision out first, to try and not delay all of this so much. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see. Now, follow-up Disney Plus news here. We have that Marvel's Hawkeye is going to be the first of the MCU Disney Plus series to be helmed by multiple directors, kind of Mandalorian style, where Mandalorian had multiple directors come in to helm different episodes. All the other MCU shows have been single director helmed. So like one director has come in and directed the entire season of the show. And so right now, it says here, this is coming from an exclusive from THR, the Hollywood Reporter. It says Marvel's Hawkeye Disney Plus series lands Troop Zero and Comrade Detective directors. So let me see here.
I'll be honest, I'd be lying if I told you I knew what either of those things were.
Troop Zero was like an Amazon Prime movie.
Okay.
And then Comrade Detective was like this really weird, zany, like comedy show that had it was like an English dub or like a German dub. It was like a whole weird thing where it was like a Russian show that was English dubbed or something. It was like very weird.
It's a parody comedy designed to resemble a non-existent, gritty 1980s Cold War Romanian police show.
Yeah,
that promoted communist ideals, huh?
Yeah, and these same people also directed the Sack Lunch Bunch, the John Mulaney thing on Netflix.
Oh.
So this says here Reese Thomas
Troop Zero. I remember seeing like ads for this. Sorry.
Yeah, that's going to be one of them, and then Bert and Birdie. I don't know. It's hard. I can't really.
But
I don't know their names.
The multiple directors thing, I think that's pretty cool. As long as they can have like which I assume they will, because I feel like Marvel and Disney are really good about that whole cohesive vision type thing. And they, not that they don't like they'll still let the directors create, but it's like, okay, you can do this, but you still need to get to this point, So as long as it's it stays, the course makes sense. I mean, I don't see a problem with having multiple directors direct different episodes.
And this does kind of make sense too, because some rumblings we've heard about Hawkeye is obviously we know based on the teaser. I guess it was like maybe the intro to the show, or maybe it was like a teaser trailer. All those like animated intros they played at Comic-Con last year. Actually, 1 year ago today, almost. Actually, I think it is 1 year ago today that big Hall H panel was last year that blew the roof off the place. We know obviously it's going to be about him training Kate Bishop, but we've also had Kevin Feige saying that the show will explore in flashback more of his time as Ronin. So kind of there you feel different tones. It kind of makes sense that they're going to want to bring in different directors to match those tones. So it really seems like we're going to be kind of getting a pretty cool series here with a lot of different elements going on. And it kind of is cool that they're going to be doing different directors to kind of keep it fresh and keep the tone, kind of relevant to whatever's going on in the show. So that'll do it for the Hawkeye news there. Pretty cool. Like you said, hopefully that show just stays on course. It already was going to be one of the later projects that they were working on, so hopefully it doesn't really get too affected by this. And then here we have that Noah Centineo has joined Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the New Line DC movie Black Adam. So this is going to be the movie set in the DCEU, based, in the same ballpark, or I guess franchise or spinoff, however the hell you want to call it, to Zachary Levi's Shazam. Eventually, those two movies are going to combine and everything. But Noah Centineo, I believe.
Centennial, I think it is.
Centennial, sorry. He has been cast as Atom Smasher. So that's a big character from the comic books, who has, obviously just like almost every villain, has worked with the heroes before it, but also is mainly a villain. He appeared in a season 2 episode of CW's The Flash, obviously by a different actor. But it seems he's going to be teaming up with Dwayne Johnson's character here. What are your thoughts on that? Just, another cool casting. He hasn't really done that much, but he is going to be playing He-Man in the upcoming Masters of the Universe film.
He was in Charlie's Angels, apparently. Didn't see that. You saw
apparently, it. Apparently, yeah. I saw 25 minutes of that movie. But reports are, he's not like the bulkiest kid. Like he was in that rom-com All the Boys Have Loved before.
Is that character like is he like big, or is he
his name is Atom Smasher, so he's similar to Adam, and who is kind of like DC's version of Ant-Man. It's, if you've ever seen, it's the character Brandon Routh plays on Legends of Tomorrow, where he gets bigger and smaller, Ray Palmer. So he's kind of like a muscular dude, but then he grows in size.
Okay.
So you could kind of get away with having him be less muscular, and then obviously you're going to turn him into a CG character, probably.
Yeah.
Adding some bulk in post. So that would be totally fine and kind of fit that type of character. Because part of his power is that he gets bigger.
So would he be like the villain? Is that what you're saying of the movie, or no?
Well, it's unclear because it's like Black Adam is a villain. So it's like we don't. Yeah, we don't really know like what form this movie's going to take. So it's like he could be teaming up, like maybe Black Adam's teaming up with villains, but he's a good guy. Maybe it's an origin story type thing. Like, but it does, not to get too comic booky, but it does seem like they're forming some sort of Justice Society of America in this movie. So that'll be very interesting to see. But at this time, it's just cool to see that we are getting another classic DC character joining in the mix there.
Yeah.
And so the last story here that we're going to just touch on briefly right now, because it is going to be a big part of our shooting the shit topic later on in the show, which is that news broke earlier today that finally they have stopped with the little 2-week inch pushes, and Christopher Nolan's Tenet, anticipated film to mark the reopening of American cinemas nationwide, has been delayed indefinitely. This is officially coming from Warner Brothers, so it's not, rumor mill or reporting or anything like that. I mean, it is reporting, but it's an official statement by Warner Brothers that the film, at least its domestic release, has been delayed indefinitely. Now, there's also a new rule that we haven't talked about on here, because I didn't think it kind of was rolled into this, which is that China is implementing a 2-hour limit on theatrical experiences, going to the theater type thing. So any film that's over 2 hours is not going to get a full release there. Now it might be I don't even know how you would do it, but maybe it's something that if it's over 2 hours, you watch half of it in one sitting and then you come back. I don't know.
I still I don't get that. Like, if you're in the theater for a minute or 2.5 hours, aren't you having this like if somebody sneezes on you, they sneeze on you, no matter how long you're in there.
Yeah, but the longer amount of time equals more sneezes. Think about it like that.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, it's the exposure time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But
I guess we'll we'll go into this more like.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about it quite a bit later on in the show. But that will do it for the first half of the show this week. So as always, we'll be right back in just a moment, guys. All right, and welcome back to the Planet Film Pod. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So as the title of the episode would tell you, we are embarking on the journey that every podcast is going to have to do before whenever Black Widow comes out, which is reviewing the MCU. So we are starting day one here with day one of the MCU with our review of 2008's Iron Man. So why don't you go ahead and take it away with the IMDb, as we do every week. I'll go ahead and get the box office pulled up.
All right, so Iron Man came out in 2008, rated PG-13 at 2 hours and 6 minutes.
I will say real quick, longer than I remember.
Yeah.
That was it. Sorry.
As for those who don't know, a quick synopsis. After being held captive in an Afghan cave, billionaire engineer Tony Stark creates a unique weaponized suit of armor to fight evil. Wow. All right, directed by Jon Favreau, writers Mark Fergus and Hawk Ostby, and it looks like a few other people. They're probably credited as characters. Yep. Oh, and Art Macrum and Matt Holloway. Okay. Nominated for 2 Oscars. Didn't know that. Nominated for Best Achievement in Sound Editing and Best Achievement in Visual Effects. Okay. And so that stars Robert Downey Jr., Terrence Howard, Jeff Bridges, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Jon Favreau. A few cameos there. Paul Bettany, Clark Gregg. We got Sean Toob, Leslie Bibb. Sorry, I'm just naming off everybody. Farhan Tahir. And those are, I think, like the major ones, that, or at least just going down the build list.
Yeah, those are the big players. Yeah.
Do you want me to? Oh, you got box office, right?
Yeah, I got that. But also, sorry, I just want to cut in real quick. With a little bit of breaking news, I guess you would call it. So 2 pieces. The Game of Thrones prequel series has begun active casting. That looks like that broke like right as we were starting to record today. But I didn't see it until now. And then also some speculation here, but Disney has just, right before it was due to be released on August 21st, they moved the one and only Ivan up to August 14th.
Moved it up.
Yeah, which now means there is no big movie being released on August 21st on Disney Plus, but currently slated for a theatrical release on August 21st is Mulan.
Yeah.
So maybe they are making,
just put it out.
Maybe they're clearing. I mean, honestly, maybe they're clearing a path for it. I mean, think about it. Everything else in August, pretty much, because I think we're still waiting on Bill and Ted to officially move, but everything else has moved out of August. So maybe this is something that they're clearing the way for it on Disney Plus to say, hey, guess what? You guys waited for it. We're just gonna release it on Disney Plus, or maybe it's a move for New Mutants. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a spot. Oh no, never mind. I always do that. New Mutants can't go on Disney Plus. I always forget about that. Yeah, so I mean, I'd say Mulan makes sense for that. But just very interesting there. Sorry, I just wanted to get those 2 beats out there just because they came out just now. All right. So the box office for this film. Now, obviously, the MCU is the single highest performing box office wise franchise of all time. I don't think it's going to be beaten anytime soon. And this kicked everything off with a fairly high budget, which we will get into a little bit of this movie. The kind of the risk that was taken here, which is $140 million budget.
Wow.
With marketing, you got to assume it's reaching that 250 million, almost 300 million. And so here we had a domestic opening weekend of 98 million, just shy of 100 million for the opening. And worldwide here, it made 585 million, $363,247. Now broken up, that was about 54% domestic yield and about 46% international. So it actually, surprisingly for a comic book film, it was pretty even, which does not typically happen.
Do you think they were happy with that, or do you think they wanted more out of it?
I think they were thrilled because let's go ahead and jump right into just before we actually talk about the movie here, we're going to talk a little bit about the process of the movie with this one, just because it's the thing that started the beast. You know what I mean? It's kicked off the whole MCU, and on some fairly big risks. First of all, Jon Favreau directed Elf. Not really directed Elf and Cowboys and Aliens. Not really a known quantity directing a big budget action film that's supposedly going to start off this big who the hell is Kevin Feige, what the hell is he talking about, why is Sam Jackson wearing an eye patch universe. And props to Jon Favreau, but he said, the only person that I want for this is Robert Downey Jr., who is 4 or 5 months out of prison at this point, for drugs and other bad crimes and stuff that he's talked plenty about, and they did not want to sign him, and that's why the whole deal with Paramount went through, where it was Paramount was going to back the movie if it was successful, then that would give Kevin Feige the capital he needed to start Marvel Studios. If it was unsuccessful, Paramount was going to take all those characters from Marvel. Clearly, big, huge gamble that, Kevin Feige, Robert Downey Jr., and Jon Favreau still talk about to this day, rightfully so, that obviously it massively paid off. That's why, just to your point of, were they hoping for more? I think they were hoping for anything. I think anything was great to them. It is kind of shocking, though, to look back at this movie and see less than $600 million. You know what I mean?
When you said that, I go, that's like chump change now.
No, exactly. Here, I'm talking domestic opening, 98 million. And cut to Endgame.
When you said that, I was like,
12 years later. Yeah. So with that, that's pretty much the main stuff we want to talk about in regards to the making of the movie and everything. Obviously, what it went on to be. Like we said, we're still working out, how often it's going to be, but we are going to try and get through the reviews for all of the movies. I don't know if we'll be able to do it by the time Black Widow comes out, because we don't even know when Black Widow is going to come out. But it'll definitely be interesting, but we're going to try and get through all those for you guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into our non-spoiler review section of this. Now, as always, obviously, because this is a movie that's come out, me and TJ have had conversations about Iron Man before, but nothing really concrete. I don't really know his concrete thoughts on this first one, and I don't really think he knows mine on this first one. So as always, we're going to go through the non-spoiler and then reveal our star rating for Letterboxd at the end of the review to each other. So TJ, why don't you go ahead and kick it off with this one and let me know your initial thoughts.
This movie I thought was very, very good. I think it's a excellent way. I thought it was I don't know if I saw this in theater. I thought it was an excellent way to start off the MCU, in my personal opinion. You first see Tony Stark as kind of this lovable, asshole, where he's kind of spouting off these different things, where he's riding in the Humvee with the soldiers, and he's taking pictures with them, but he's also making jokes that are kind of they're not they're kind of crude in a way, I guess, but everybody's laughing. So it's he's still everybody still likes him. Obviously, I thought this was a great cast. I wrote down Jeff Bridges, absolute unit. This man, the bald beard, and he's how tall is he? Is he 6'5" or something?
I don't know. He's tall, man. Guy. You look like Big Lebowski. He's tall.
I thought I don't know what you thought about, but I thought Robert Downey Jr. and Gwyneth Paltrow had very good chemistry. I don't know what you thought about that. And I thought a lot of good comedic notes in this movie, in my opinion. I definitely have some like written down just in these notes somewhere. I'm not gonna look through them, but over, like I just really liked this movie. I thought it was a really good way to start off like the MCU, and I even saw some things that were like, I mean, we'll get to it. It's not a spoiler or anything. We'll get to it, but something that he says that tracks all the way to Endgame, which I never even like pictured because I've only seen this movie like once before watching it last night.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
you've only seen this once before.
I've probably seen it once or twice, but if that once or twice, that was like many years ago. So
wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: have you seen it? Did you see it in theaters? Was one of the time like
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. What makes you write down that line because I want to know what you're talking about.
I have it written down.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll hop in with my non-spoiler, just initial thoughts. I definitely do remember seeing this in theaters. It was definitely, obviously it was a big summer movie. I remember the first trailer was like, what the hell is this? Like, it looked so cool. It was the same summer that Dark Knight came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was big time for superhero movies. I remember I probably didn't know who Robert Downey Jr. was at that time, if I had to guess. But since then, I've seen this movie probably 24 times, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Way more than me.
But yeah, a little bit. But yeah, honestly, on this rewatch, I kind of hated it. I really thought ever since because this is the first time I've seen it since
Are you
Endgame.
Again, or are you serious?
No, I'm serious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the first time that I've seen it since Endgame.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No, this movie is like fantastic. I mean, the thing that I was constantly just thinking to myself while watching this was just like, this is how you do a superhero origin.
Yeah.
Like, just plain and simple. This is the pinnacle of a superhero origin movie. I think Doctor Strange is a really good origin movie. Ant-Man's really good. Take your pick of Spider-Man. But I think when you're talking about what is the single greatest origin, Batman Begins, I love too. It's my favorite of the trilogy. But when you're talking about the single best, showing you the journey from in Tony's case, pretentious douchebag billionaire guy to absolute definable superhero from beginning to end. This movie is the best one to do it, and probably the best one that's ever going to do it, unless something else comes along in either universe, or something that's completely not Marvel or DC. But I just think I'm constantly surprised by how good this movie is and how much it holds up. Yeah. That's another thing I want to talk about too, is the visual effects just to hear in the non-spoiler. The visual effects for being almost 13 years old at this point are stellar. They look, you could plop them right into Endgame. Some of the stuff where he's doing the test flights and stuff in his garage looks
like those are like the type of beats I was talking about, where he's talking to the robot. He's like, all right, if I'm not on fire, don't spray me.
Yeah, fire. He's like, don't even point it at me. I feel like I'm gonna spontaneously combust. Like, like there's just great comedy stuff here that just really shows like why Robert Downey Jr. was the right choice to play this character.
Movie, I mean, Iron Man just in general, or I guess the MCU just probably holds one of my favorite sound effects ever. Is just the black, that. Oh my god, I love that noise.
Oh yeah,
and hearing it again, I was like, oh, this is great.
Brings you back. Also, obviously, I think every single character in this movie, every single character in this film has at least one or two moments to shine and have a great performance and have a great character moment that the audience can cheer for and everything, and that people remember coming out of this. I'd go to you just said his last name, Sean Toom, for this as Jensen. I think Jensen's Jensen's whole character in this movie is so good, and he has maybe 12 to 15 minutes of screen time.
He's great. Because I think he's the one who really starts to get in Tony's head. It's like, you're not really doing what you think you're doing. Like I
Yeah.
wrote down this one line where Tony's like, who are these guys? He's like, these are loyal customers.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, are we getting the spoiler?
Not yet. Okay. Yeah. But we'll go back to that because Yinsen definitely has a moment that I want to talk about in the spoiler section. But I think that'll do it just for my non-spoiler right now. Let's go ahead and what is your star rating for Iron Man?
4.5.
4.5 out of 5. Wow.
4.5 because there's a few things that are just very convenient. Like when they're building the suit and it's like you didn't see him that entire time. Just some small stuff like that. But
yeah, or like overall, plummeting out of the sky from like 70 feet and surviving, like just some stuff. In a giant metal can.
It is a comic book movie.
No, exactly. It's like Indiana Jones surviving in the fridge. In Temple of Doom. No, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Yeah. So I'm gonna go exactly the same. I'm gonna go with a 4.5 out of 5. Same thing. I don't think it's like the little things that I just think I look at the other options and I think that it's not like at the perfect level that a few of the MCU films are. Okay, even movies in general. Yeah, I just think there's like it's not a Logan, it's not a in my opinion Civil War. Yeah, it's not like Winter Soldier. And it's really like you said, like there are some things that like kind of gnaw at me about it. That's like, all right, well, that's a little convenient, but I wouldn't say that contributes to taking away from the star value. I just think when I look at the full range of what they have to offer, I just think it's a little bit under some of the others. That's all. Fair. But yeah, so we're both going with a 4.5 out of 5. So let's go ahead and jump right into the spoiler section. Wave my hands here. That's the spoilers. Now, let's start off. What was that line?
At the end when he's at the press conference, he says, "I am Iron Man," and then I was like, "Oh my god!" At the end game, he snaps his fingers.
That was the first time you realized that.
Yeah, because I haven't seen the movie in forever long. I never realized
that's like the whole dramatic point of that face-off in Endgame.
I just missed it.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
And I knew people like made a big deal when he said that. And I was like, oh, wasn't he just like repeating what Thanos said? But he's just saying like, I am Iron Man instead of,
Oh my gosh. I don't even. Okay. So people, this is a small taste of the interesting TJ takes we're going to be getting by reviewing this entire franchise.
Okay. So I have a question for you. I wrote down an Ask Sean question.
Yeah.
What is so there was something with the Mandarin, or is that in like the third movie, or is that this movie? Is it like the fake Mandarin or something? Wasn't there like I remember hearing something.
The third movie.
The third movie. Okay, I thought it was this one for some reason because they say something about the 10 rings, and I was like, oh, Shang-Chi and is that the same?
Yeah. Okay, it's all the same thing. Yeah,
it's all connected. Okay,
yeah. It's all the same 10 rings in this, and Ant-Man and Captain America and Shang-Chi. Right. It's all the same 10 rings. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but Mandarin comes in a little bit later.
Yeah.
Some people call me a tourist. Great film. Oh man, I almost just want to jump right to Iron Man 3 and review that. All right. No Iron Man 3 thoughts, no spoilers. All right. But spoilers for this movie. All right. So for me, I think one of the best scenes in the entire MCU, which I think obviously it's a big origin movie trope, but Yinsen's death is just like, every time, man. That is like, it's just so awful because it's like Tony just goes to him and he's like, we're getting you out of here. That was the plan. And Yinsen's just like, that was never the plan. The plan. He was like, because he tells Tony, tells Tony, he's like, when we get you out of here, I'm going to go and see my family. And he just goes like, just the performance by the actor, who then comes back in Iron Man 3, is just so good. Like when he just tells him, he's just like, Stark, my family is dead. Like you could just tell, like he's so at peace that he helped this guy, And then he just has the moment where, he grabs his hand and he just says the line of "Don't waste your life." And that's just like, that to me is the biggest thing I think the last thing that went through Tony's head before he snapped his fingers was Yinsen saying, "Don't waste your life." Because he realizes that is the full circle moment of, I have lived a life not wasted. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things that, not to do spoilers for Endgame, but I mean,
if you haven't seen it by now, it's
if you're watching a spoiler review for Iron Man, you should probably watch that. But just that moment, and you realize too, it's like Yinsen was the first step, and like Cap pulling him out of the cabin to come back to the team was the last step. You know what I mean? Like that, and him realizing that he has lived a life not wasted, and he not only has not wasted his life, but he has built all of this to give anyone else who needs an opportunity to save people or be a superhero a chance. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that line is like one of the single best lines of the entire movie and of the entire MCU. Now you.
Oh, man. I love the whole old the suit that it's like from like the comic books, correct? Like the suit he builds. It's like,
like the Mark I, like that's his origin, is that he has to build a suit in a cave.
Let's see. I love the montage of him building the suit. I thought the intro to the whole like arc react, like when they're doing surgery on him, that little like quick cut montage for like 5 seconds when I thought that was some horror movie stuff. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I wrote down a young Jon Favreau. He's in it a few times. Love him. He's great. He looks really different. It's really weird.
Yeah, it looks super thin. And I just love
I didn't want to say that, but I was like, oh, whatever.
Well, what do you want to say? But it's just so cool to see. That's the other thing too that I'll talk about just real quick is like the character development of a lot of the secondary characters in this. You see how big of a role they have. I mean, you look at, it's not even the same actor, but you think Howard Stark, you know what I mean? Like he's just like in a couple pictures in this movie, and they recast him with John Slattery, and then the young version with Dominic Cooper. But like, you just look at like how big of an influence Howard Stark is in the MCU, and how many appearances Howard Stark has had in the MCU. You look at Coulson, you know what I mean? Coulson, who obviously is the defining part of the first Avengers movie, and then obviously everything that has happened since then with him on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He's great.
And then also Captain America, or Captain
Marvel.
Yes, Jesus Christ, yes. And Captain, like, obviously Clark coming back to the movies to play Phil again in the Captain Marvel. And then also, like who you were just saying, Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan in this. Like, you just see, like, him going from this of, like, playfully, like, racing him to the airport to then in Far From Home, you have that gut-wrenching scene where Jon Favreau does not say a word when Peter is doing the like tech stuff and like looking at his hand and stuff, and he just looks at Happy and he's just like, what? And Happy's just like, nothing. Because like, you get all of that just because you understand, like, that was like his dude, you know what I mean? Like, that was his best friend in the world, was Tony. And it's like, this movie is the beginning of that, and what leads to that great moment with that. And you just think it's like, it's been this constant through line of Jon Favreau from the beginning of this universe all the way up to, at this point, the last movie that came out in it, in Far From Home, playing that same character the entire way through.
What did you think about Jeff Bridges, like the villain? Do you think he was a good villain, or do you think he was?
Let's talk about first. Let's just talk about what do you think about Terrence Howard as Rhodey in this?
So first of all, the whole reason he didn't come back is because there was like a dispute on what he was getting paid, correct? Something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was like good. I don't know. Like, I like the part where he like looks at the suit and he's like, He's like, next time. I thought that was funny.
I told my mom, I was like,
Yeah.
I want a like list of every time in a movie a character has like referenced the next movie and then has been recast in the next movie. like you literally, I mean, it's just so perfect. It's like the one actor who doesn't come back has the line that goes, next time, baby. And it's like, it's never gonna happen, Terrence. I'm sorry.
I thought he was good in the movie and everything. I thought he was good at playing the character. I think I probably just like Don Cheadle more in that role just because I'm used to it and he's been in more movies. But I thought he was like good in the role.
I'll say this. I was joking, obviously, when I said that I didn't like it as much this time, but for some reason, this time more than, and I wasn't kidding. This is my first watch of it since Endgame, just because.
Okay.
For a while, I was just like, it was just like, I don't like. It was hard, you know what I mean? And so I was just like kind of putting it off. So it's first time I've seen it since then. And I don't know if it's Don Cheadle's like like him as Rhodey in Endgame is just like another, like he just takes that character to another level in that film. I really, 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 to the point that I didn't before, I just really had an issue, like just had issue with Terrence Howard as Rhodey. Like, I just really feel like, and obviously it's something that you can't go back and say, well, he was doing the role first, but it's like, it just doesn't feel like the same character to me. You know what I mean? Like the whole what's it called? The great scene that we could talk about for a bit here of the first time he goes to that like Afghan village and kills all the terrorists. And then there's the great scene with him and the two planes.
I love that scene because he's like,
I love that scene
man.
too. I think and he's just like, Rhodey, it's me. And he's like, Tony, you're not supposed to send. And he's like, no, it is me. But the end of that scene, like when he's just like, when Rhodey's just like, you crazy son of a bitch. And it's like,
you want to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like it just doesn't feel like the same guy, I guess.
I get that.
And also, like another thing is and it's not as much Terrence Howard's performance as it is, I think, just the characterization of Rhodey has changed. Like Rhodey getting so offended that Tony would stop like the military stuff. Like Don Cheadle's Rhodey would not be like, what are you doing, man? Like, you know what I mean? Like he wouldn't get that like upset about it, I guess. That's really, I think, a thing that pulls it down a little bit for me just more recently. Seeing it is just him. I just don't really care for him in that role. And I don't know. It's just a little thing, but it's just, that's like the only thing watching it back that like, I kind of am just like, oh, whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's like the main negative about the movie, if I had to pick one. Yeah. But we can now talk about Jeff Bridges, because as I was talking about that, I did download, was able to actually get a guest in on the podcast. So we are actually going to bring him in right now. And that is Mr. Obadiah Stane himself from 2008. So just 1 second here.
It's impossible. Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
So, I think that Jeff Bridges is one of the best early MCU villains. Period. Hands down. And to quote Anthony Mackie, cut the check. No questions asked. He is so good in this movie. It's the same thing we talk about all the time with MCU people. It's like, stop killing off your villains. And they have really stopped. They've really pulled that back from just literally every single movie killing the villain at the end. But I don't really know what you would do with Obadiah outside of this story, but like, he's just so good in this movie. I don't know. What do you think about Jeff Bridges?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like he just kind of had I feel like he kind of had to die.
Because it's like, I really like Obadiah Stane is so ingrained in Tony's past. It's like, you can't bring him past that, really.
I mean, in my opinion, you can kind of like I feel like the movie tries to make you think maybe that the main villains are going to be like the terrorists.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, that's another thing too. Watching this, I was like, wow. In the first half of this, they really play up that the villain is just the Ten Rings. Like if you didn't know, like if you didn't read like probably back then, I'd imagine the only places like maybe like if you read like Entertainment Weekly, like an Iron Man edition, it might have said like Jeff Bridges is playing the villain. But like if you just watch the trailers and stuff, like they really play it up that it's just the Ten Rings are the villains.
yeah. I mean that like one scene where he's just like where they're walking, you know, when Tony crashes the what is it, a benefit or something like that, and he's like, what's the guy got to do to get an invitation to his own party?
Yeah, it's his own benefit. It's like for the firefighters or something.
Yeah, when they're on the stairs, and he's like, "Are we dealing under the table to like, you know, the enemies?" And he's like, "Who do you think locked you out? You know, who do you think trying to put you out of the company?"
Yeah.
And
he was like, I filed the injunction against you.
Yeah, like that's just so like no like bare bones, like nothing. He's just like, yeah, this is what I did. And then he just walks away.
And then he just walks away. Like that's the thing too. Like, it's like, oh my God, like freaking baller. Like
even when he double crosses the what's that guy's name?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is that his name?
The leader of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, like and he's just like he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna actually take the parts and I'm gonna kill all of you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I do wish kind of they would have set up that whole. I don't know if it's really not that big of a deal. It's just kind of coming to me now. The whole like thing that paralyzes you for like 15 minutes. It's just kind of like they kind of pull it out of thin
he just
air,
kind of does it in like one line when
where he's like, oh, we built this, you know.
When he does it on Tony, not the first time he does it to the terrorist guy. When he does it on Tony, he's like, "Remember, we worked this little thing up for like." It
wasn't approved by the whoever.
Yeah, like like it's just like a one-line thing, but yeah. When it like first comes in, you're kind of like, "What? Did you just do that?" Yeah.
Watching like this, I just can't go. This dude is like. You know, like, sorry, it's people talking in the background. I apologize. Okay. He's just jacked. Like, he probably didn't work. I feel like he maybe didn't work out for the movie. Jeff Bridges.
Oh,
like, he's not jacked, but he's just like, you know, like if I walked up to him, I'd be like nervous.
Like he's built in this movie.
Yeah,
like, he's definitely like he's got a rig on. You know what I mean? Like he's.
Yeah. But I did. What'd you think of the fight? Did you like the fight?
At the end?
Yeah.
I think it's really, really good. I'm pretty sure if I am in recalling my memory correctly, this is the first superhero instance of the bright blue beam into the sky, which then we saw a trend of in about 25 movies straight.
Yeah.
But at least this one was just a discharge and not a blue beam that had to be turned off like every other film.
Yeah. Okay. Do you? Sorry, I'm just pivoting real quick. Do you think Tony technically should have died from where he was? Because he got hit with it.
Tough to say. Yeah, but it's tough to say because of the way that like he was like hanging on, and so it like hit his feet first. So I guess it would kind of make sense that it did more propel him. Then like, but like Obadiah took it in the face. Like it like went up the front of his suit. Like. And even after that, like it didn't burn him or anything. It just like killed him because it electrocuted. Oh, actually, it might have been because Tony's suit didn't have any power. You know what I mean? Because it was an electric blast. Like it was like an electric blast. Like, but Tony's suit was off because remember, like he barely landed on the roof and he didn't have a helmet and no hand.
Oh yeah, like so that's kind of one of those things where, well, when they're flying straight up and he's like, "How'd you solve the icing problem?" And then he ices and he gets and then he crashed to the ground and you're like, "How is he still like fine?" Like not like Obadiah.
Oh yeah. Like but there was one line in this that I hadn't picked up on that kind of helped. Was one thing in the MCU is I was like, obviously there's a reason for it, and in the comics and everything, and then once he gets to like the nano suit and stuff, it makes a lot more sense. But like in these early suits, I was like, how does he like? And when I was watching this movie, I was like, okay, how does he go from when he says like kill the power, and then he goes through all 3 floors I was like, how does he go from that to being able to like gently land? But then I remembered it's the gold metal that he uses. That's what he's talking to Jarvis. He's like, use the anodized gold plating or something to help with the. He says to help with the weight to mass ratio or something like on impact. So that was one thing that I was just like, how does, like, did they ever explain that? But they actually did in this movie. I didn't even remember that. But yeah, I mean, do you have anything else you wanted to bring up that we hadn't talked about in the movie? I just want to give another shout out to Coulson in this. Just such a great character, just with all of his appearances.
Did you forget about our meeting? Nope, we're gonna have it right now.
Yeah, we're gonna have it right now. Your office, like that whole thing, and then just the I love the like he puts the little he holds his hand out and the guy puts the bomb in it and he puts it on the door and Pepper's like, oh, is that gonna like pick the lock? And he's just like, you should probably step back. And then Phil, and then he goes, and then waits for it to explode.
I don't know if he says it, but when they get in there and they're looking for Obadiah and he's like hiding. And when he goes, take them down, boys, and then he just immediately, they all get smacked out of the way.
Yeah, that's another thing that I was wondering about. Was like I was like paying attention to Phil in that scene, and I was like, did he just like die? But then like they just like wrote him back in because like he definitely.
I thought he took down everybody. Like he
definitely like because Obadiah goes like this with like his giant like arms in the suit, and I'm pretty sure Phil is like standing right there, but it's okay. I don't know.
And they go, okay, we'll just run him back.
He's died. Coulson's literally died like 5 or 6 times at this point. So I don't know. But
I almost turned the movie off without the end credit scene.
I know. Yeah, let's talk about that. So,
you can go into it real quick.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say let's talk about that with the whole end credit. You know, this first one. What do you think about the? Let's do a little mini review of just the end credit scene. What did you think about it?
I thought it was the perfect way to get people excited. In what was it, 2008?
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, I'm sure that it's some. You know, if you know comic books.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're like, oh my god, like Avengers, and then you hear Shield in the beginning of or middle to end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of curious, like, what do you think people would think that didn't know anything about this? Like, do you think they would have left the theater already, or do you think that they'd be like?
Well, I think definitely
what is that?
I think definitely the first wave of people, definitely left the theater.
Yeah,
I would say, and then I would probably say. It helped a lot with rewatches, with getting people back in the theater, is to say, hey, there's something at the end. Go back, watch your favorite movie again, and stay after the credits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, I mean, I say now, really, 2010, 2012, even, it's like, it's learned knowledge. You know,
now we're just conditioned to just stay.
Now you just
for
know
not Marvel movies. We stay for anything.
Now, that's something that's really at first it transcended the MCU and went over to like DC and other genre stuff. Now it's just transcended everything. Any movie now is open.
If you want to set up a sequel, you have an end credit scene. Basically, that's how.
Like
Bad Boys.
I was just gonna say, Bad Boys. Yeah.
I mean, some of them aren't like.
How you feel about paying down some of that debt?
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna put you down with.
I can do it.
We're gonna put you down with Dom down in Brazil. Dom Toretto.
Crossover. Oh my god, Bad Boys.
That was supposed to be a thing, wasn't it?
Too Fast, Too Bad.
Oh, there you go.
That's an idea.
But no, like I said, I thought it was a very good setup. Even though, like, even if you don't know what's going on, because you can still like Google it. You know, you'd be like, what are the Avengers? What is Shield? Who is Iron Man? Who is Captain? You know. How long? Well, I guess you said Hulk came out like 3 months after this, right? Or 2?
Yeah, I think it was.
That's such a short turnaround time for me. Like, I can't imagine it. Like, obviously, okay, well, right now we get, not currently, but we had gotten 3 movies a year. Oh, so I guess that's not. All right, never mind. I take that back.
Correction. 1 month.
1 month? Oh my god.
Iron Man came out May 4th, 2008, and Hulk came out June 13th.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It was a good birthday for me that year.
Yeah.
Big summer.
Yeah, but do you want to go into like final thoughts? What we thought final thoughts?
Yeah, so my final thoughts for it are just, so we're out of the spoiler section for final thoughts. For me, I think I just, every time I revisit it, it's so good. Like it's just consistently such a fantastic, well-made film. The editing, the directing especially, the writing. I just think it's just, and what it has created in its wake.
Yeah.
It's I would say this movie is undeniable. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
That like, I think that'll just do it for my final thoughts. This movie is an undeniable piece of cinema.
Wow. You said, take that, Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
Overall, I think this is just a fantastic intro to the MCU. Well, maybe they did. I don't know if they thought then that what they were building was going to be what it is now. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Mm-hmm. But like you said, the editing, the acting, the special effects, the sound effects, the directing, all great. Even stuff like we didn't just exactly touch on, like you start to begin like you can clearly see the change between lovable asshole to, okay, maybe I should take a step back from this company, really reevaluate what I'm doing with my life and try to help people instead of, making money and having just sex with random people, apparently, because that's kind of what he did. But I love the arc beginning, and you obviously see that through every single movie up into Endgame. Is just that he's not wasting his life. And I think this is a movie, like, I think this is in like the upper, I mean, obviously I haven't watched, like, I don't know. If you told me to rank all the MC movies right now, I probably couldn't, because I just don't have like a very good memory of all of them. But looking at this, I would say that this is one of the upper echelon like MCU movies, in my opinion. But fantastic film, in my opinion. Fantastic.
Boom. Yeah. So, I mean, that'll do it for our review of 2008's Iron Man. Definitely, once again, a lot of the stuff that we review on here, same thing. If you have Disney Plus, give it a watch. It's also a movie that is heavily syndicated on tons of cable channels. Yeah. I think it's like on TNT. Like weekly. Probably. Like, I feel like it plays on TNT all the time. It's one of those movies that's always on, like TNT always has those like 5 movies that they just play on repeat, and Iron Man is definitely one of them. So even if you don't have that, I'm sure you could find it FX or something like on demand. If you somehow are watching a film podcast and have not seen Iron Man, I don't know what you're doing.
Go watch it.
But go watch it. Yeah, go watch it. So now we bring ourselves to shooting the shit. This is a topic that we have talked almost to death on. I think.
Why not bring it up again?
I think at this point, this is going to be, unless something really major happens, which with this damn virus, something major could happen every single week. And what I'm about to say could be nothing, but unless something major happens, this is probably going to be the last time we're going to be talking about this subject for a while. Just because this kind of really is kind of nail in the coffin territory that we're getting into now. Which is just, you look, I wrote in the notes here, just Godzilla, Conjuring 3, No Time to Die, Black Widow, Mulan, Bill and Ted, even Tenet. The list goes on for the long Wonder Woman. The list goes on for the long delays that we are seeing in the Hollywood blockbusters, and also smaller films too, getting pushed and delayed. Now it's looking like those delays are all going to inch into 2021. So we're out of the pushing a couple weeks in 2020, moving it to the end of summer from the beginning of summer. We're now in the territory where we might not see theaters open until 2021. And that's kind of the discussion that we're going to talk about today. Should movie theaters even bother opening in 2020? Now, we're talking domestically. Obviously, we are well aware that the handling of this situation has not been that well by the American government. And we realize that almost all of the other foreign markets are pretty much at a kind of safe
New
place
Zealand.
that they well, New Zealand especially, yeah. Release every film there on schedule. But most of the other markets are completely ready for a theater reopening sometime in 2020. The US, not so much. So do you think that any of these movie studios should set a new date in 2020 at all? Do you think that the theaters should open up in 2020, or do you even think maybe they have a responsibility not to at this point? What do you think about that?
Well, for I think one of the questions, should they set a new date in 2020? No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a point, because where we are right now, I don't see us getting out of this in this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no health expert, but just from, you just see, just from like Twitter and just stuff like that, I don't see everybody coming to a concise agreement that we should all do this one thing to, like, if you were told, if you wear a mask for, I don't know, if you could wear a mask every day, everybody has to wear a mask every day for 1 month, and this whole thing will be gone, wiped out, done. You don't even have to hear about it again. It's not coming back ever. How many people do you think would do that? I guarantee you there would be a small, maybe medium-sized majority, not majority, sorry, a small, medium-sized section of all the people in the country that'd be like, I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like, but it's gone for the rest. It's gone forever. Like, you don't have to deal with it again. Just 1 month. But nope, not doing it. It's like I just don't think, like you've said multiple times, it's a privilege to go to the theater. It's not a right.
You build a functioning society, then you implement the theater or sports or whatever the analogy would be.
Yeah. And now I applaud like these whole, like the sports, like, UFC's got its own fighting island, whatever they're doing. NBA's in a bubble, soccer's in a bubble. Football, I don't know what football's doing. They're coming up with things like different masks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or face guards for the helmets and everything. But I just don't think there's, if you want to release stuff foreign markets, fine, go do it. Like, if they're ready to do it, obviously I feel like you probably get the most return domestically. But if you want to release internationally, be my guest. Obviously it's probably going to get pirated, and, people talk about piracy, and, you're probably going to be able to see it in the States, not legally, but like I just don't see, like, I just don't see it. And it hurts me because I really like going to the movies. But I just don't see ourselves as a country getting out of it this year. And it sucks for, like, cause you work in a theater. I mean, if I still worked there, I'd be pretty bummed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm still bummed. I know a lot of people obviously that work there, and it sucks that, people can't get their, ish together and, just come together and do something that's good for the country or ourselves, our well-being as a society. But even like sorry, I'm like going on about this, but just like, even if they put in stuff like, like we have the glass at, if you have glass at where you get your food, or there's no hot foods, just like popcorn and soda, that's all you get, and no box office, all online ticketing, and and when you buy a seat, there's, I don't know, you buy a seat that blocks off like 2 seats next to you on each side.
That would be that would be cool if they could actually get the computer to do that.
Which again, going back to it real quick, because we were both still working there. I mean, you're still working there now, you're just furloughed, but when I was still working there, when this whole thing first started, that they were doing that. When you bought one, it did block off like a seat or two next to you. Mm-hmm. So, but also it's like you have to have the content that's going to drive the people to the theater. And I don't know if you have that. Like, yeah, you could re-release like Empire Strikes Back in the theater, but is that going to get enough people to come and you're going to be able to make money? That's questionable. Plus, you know, the bigger ticket items on, you know, in concessions, you wouldn't be able to buy. You know, exactly, like chicken, the French fries, the mozzarella sticks, the whatever. You know, you'll be able to pretzel. Exactly, Bavarian. So I just don't, like I said, if you want to release it, if I'm a studio and I want to release it internationally, if it's a smaller movie that I can make my money back, I think internationally, I say go for it. If it's, you know, a blockbuster, again, if you want to release it, go for it. You're not going to get the return you would if you released it domestic and internationally. But you know, they honestly also, I saw this earlier on Twitter. I think the president of NATO said it, the National
Association of Theater Owners.
Yeah, I think pretty sure it was him that said, you know, the studios should probably start looking at releasing them VOD. Unfortunately, this is like and
that's the president of the Association of Theater
I don't know
Owners.
if it was the president. It was somebody related to NATO.
Somebody in the organization. Like,
yeah, that they should just, you know, face the music that, you know, this is changing. You know, you're not going to be able to
face the music.
Yeah. You're not going to be able to release them theatrically every single time. And yeah, I don't know. So what do you think? I'm sorry.
That was great. I mean, I echo a lot of the same stuff. For me, I think honestly, I just have no. For me, I just think
I'm sorry. I'm on Twitter and the first thing that pops up is discussing film. It says, Oma Cinema has designed a new type of movie theater that looks strangely familiar to
like the Senate? Yeah.
Sorry. Go.
I saw that pictures too. I saw those pictures too. For those who don't know, there's like some news report saying that there's a theater in France that's building a new version of like a theater, and it's basically seating in pods that are like staggered and they look exactly like the Senate from the Star Wars prequels.
Okay, the NATO head John Fithian, it looks like. Okay, just that's it.
Okay, so it is a head at NATO. Yeah, so I mean, there you go. I would just, for me, I think it just comes down to a simple statement of I think that if you're going to delay your movie, you cannot push it. You cannot put it domestically in 2020. Period. And we're saying domestically, but obviously in this case, it's kind of flipping the whole what the word domestically means, because I mean, we're just not even getting it. But yeah, I mean, you can't, for the US release at least, you cannot put it in 2020. I think that's just what it comes down to. Yeah, so I mean, if we get a new date for Tenet, I really hope it's not 2020. Because if they just turn around and they just say it's going to be September 30th, what is the point then? What is the point of making the big deal of saying indefinitely if you're just pushing it another month? Like indefinitely, Warner Brothers saying we are delaying this film indefinitely is a big sign. So as always, you know, what do you guys think? We're going to put this to you as the final order today. Always remember, you could tweet at us using the @ or the hashtag PlanetFilmPod on Twitter. You can email the podcast at planetfilmpod@gmail.com. But let us know. We want to know, do you think theaters should reopen in 2020 in the U.S.? So with that, you know, a little bit of a shorter show today than we've been doing the past couple weeks. But you know, with that, again, my name is Sean Monk.
And I'm TJ Cornwell.
Always remember to live your life 1/4 mile at a time, guys. Take it easy.